My name is Darshan Singh. I'm from University of Science Malaysia, Malaysia. So I strongly believe that all of you know exactly what kratom is. Kratom is a native medicinal tree of Southeast Asia. All right, so it is a native medicinal tree of Southeast Asia, and it can be found growing abundantly in the community, although substantial number of individuals have started planting kratom on land designated for commercialization purposes due to the increasing demand for kratom leaf material. Now, rural inhabitants in Southeast Asia who grew up with the deep-rooted traditions have continued to use kratom for a myriad of health benefits, and not only as a stimulant, but to treat a plethora of health maladies. Now, indeed, kratom saga is no different than the long contested cocaine using controversy. So while laws banning kratom use have been around in Southeast Asia for a very long time, existing laws still provide some leeway for people to use kratom in Southeast Asia. For example, today, kratom is legal in Thailand. In Indonesia, laws are being amended to allow kratom export, whereas in Malaysia, authorities have tried numerous times to impose a permanent ban on kratom, and the thing that concerns drug enforcement authorities overwhelmingly is the occurrence of kratom co-consumption with illicit drugs and the erroneous perception that kratom serves as a gateway drug. Despite the sanction, dwellers in rural settings continue to use kratom unrestrictedly as part of their tradition. Now, we cannot brush aside kratom's dependence causing risk. This is because it is scientifically shown to have some degree of limitation. However, kratom's dependence causing risk is not viewed as something destructive or detrimental by traditional users who have been using kratom for centuries in Southeast Asia. Let me highlight that in Southeast Asia, kratom consumption has not caused any major health burdens thus far, except for some minor health complications believed to be compounded by adulterated kratom use. Now, despite kratom's broad therapeutic applicability, the native medicinal plant has appeared extremely appealing among those struggling to abstain from illicit opioids and polydrug use. So in Southeast Asia, people who are dependent on heroin and crystal methamphetamine, they actually use kratom as a substitute and to also self-treat their dependence on illicit drugs. Now, notably, current evidence have categorically shown that kratom promotes self-treatment, and those dependent on illicit drugs were able to break free from the vicious cycle of addiction without having to enroll in oppressive rehabilitation programs infamously known for its human rights abuses. Indisputably, kratom initiation was associated with a marked reduction in the use of illicit drugs in Southeast Asia. I know that this statement could sound far-fetched. Indeed, it is real because we have done a number of studies and we have shown clearly that people who have been using kratom, they were able to actually give up illicit drugs easily. In summary, kratom is still largely used for its medicinal value in Southeast Asia, though authorities persist to frame kratom negatively. To the best of my knowledge, so far kratom consumption has not caused any deleterious health issues which calls for immediate health prevention interventions. People who use illicit drugs, like I was telling you just now, people who are dependent on heroin, crystal meth, and cannabis, have greatly benefited from kratom, though these testaments awaits to be recognized with human clinical studies. To conclude, it is unfair if kratom policies are exclusively constructed based on anecdotal data. In fact, policies around kratom regulation must be formulated through science, through sound scientific evidence. With that, I end my presentation. Thank you very much.